have started JustServe clubs in their area and what advice they would like to share with you on how you can do the same. So let's go ahead and get started. It's not moving. The purpose of a JustServe club is to be an influence for good in your community through meaningful service. And by participating in high school clubs, you will have opportunities to serve others and have fun doing that. You can get hours for maybe graduation, maybe applications for college, or even for resumes. And you get to the opportunity to get involved in your community and connect and make friends. But there's more to doing service than just this. We serve. Why? We serve because of Jesus. Jesus Christ is the why of JustServe. We serve him because he first served us. It's how we show love for him. It's how we become more like him. Service is a covenant path in action, and it brings joy to us because we are doing his work. By serving others, we're learning to walk with our Savior. And in Mosiah 2:17, we read, when you are in the service of your fellow beings, you are only in the service of your God. So tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about we're going to talk about a way in which JustServe can help others come together and serve. We're going to learn what a JustServe club is, what are the benefits of being in a club, what can I do to get a club started in my school, how does this draw people unto Christ. And we focus on service. We will also need to remember this wonderful principle that Elder Uchtdorf has shared with us. He said, as we extend our hands and our hearts towards others in Christ-like love, something wonderful happens to us. Our own spirits become healed, more refined, and stronger. So let's take a look at what some of your peers have said about participating in a JustServe club in their area. I love some of these. They were polled, and some of the things that these wonderful students said was, to do good makes me feel good. It helps me to get ready for college. It's fun to work together. It gives me opportunities to love and to serve and to give back. And my community matters. And the other some said, I love teamwork, or it's changed me for the better. It serves and serving others just like Jesus served us. I've learned new leadership skills. And finally, it makes me happy. What great testimonies of serving and participating in a JustServe club. I have a couple of short videos that I'm going to share with you. Hopefully the volume works on these. These two individual high school students will share their advice and their experiences with starting a JustServe club in school. Okay, so let's see if these work. Here's the first one. It's not going to work. What?
Click on the play button.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
I started a JustServe club at my high school. When everyone's serving, there's like no prejudices, no matter like where you come from. Everyone's just happy to be there and to help others. And for me, I've found that service has brought me joy into my life and has inspired me to keep doing more good. And because I've done that, and because I've done like the JustServe club and participated and led it, it's made me want to go and continue to do things like this. I'm definitely on JustServe a lot more, and it's brought me more happiness and joy, and it's helped so much many people in my community.
So wasn't that wonderful? This young man had shared his joy and happiness, not only what he felt, but he also shared how others felt that same way when they were serving together with each other. Now, there's going to be a series of, I think, 4 short videos next. This is a young gal by the name of Isabel, and she wants to share with you her experience with JustServe. So let's see if we can get started with her.
Hi, I'm Isabel Harris, and I'm the president and founder of the JustServe Club at Wasatch High School. I'm an honors student and a competitive dancer, so I know how busy high schoolers are. I'm here to show you how easy and fun it can be to have a JustServe Club at your high school. So keep watching to hear some tips and learn more about what worked well for us.
Oh, I did it again. We'll get there.
Hello, everyone. Let's get started. So the very first step is talking to your school administration and getting your club idea approved. This is probably the easiest step because schools love any opportunity for students to get involved in their community. I just emailed our school club coordinator and she was thrilled to have us. If you aren't sure who this is at your high school, I'm sure any member of admin or a teacher could help you out. My school also requires an advisor for every club, but I highly recommend getting an advisor for your club, just an awesome teacher that could help you out. This is especially useful in scheduling space at the school for projects or meetings if that's something you need. We also got some advice from our local JustServe specialists. They had some great ideas and we're so lucky to have them. And the most important part is getting members. So Wasatch holds an event called Club Rush, where each club advertises and students can sign up for the ones that interest them most. At this event alone, we were able to get 175 members and we were so excited. So I would definitely participate in something like this if your school offers it. You can also use social media or email newsletters, get creative, anything to get the word out.
Everybody on this one? Two more.
Hey guys, today is step 2. So establishing presidency was a super important step for my club and helped everything run much smoother. So after our club rush event, I sent out a link to be able to apply for a position, and these were vice president, secretary, and a representative for each grade. You don't need to have that many officers. You can choose which ones you want to include, but having that many positions was super helpful for how big my school is. And then you have your whole club vote for which officers you'd like. I sent out a Google survey for both the sign-ups and the voting, and that's super simple and super easy. I highly recommend it. Our current vice president committed to being next year's president, and I think this is a super great way to go about establishing leadership because the vice president can learn from the president throughout the year and feel confident and prepared going into their term as president. But again, you can choose however you'd like to run the presidency.
And here's the last one.
Hi, everybody. First up,
Whoops, so sorry. Only kidding. Here you go.
Hi, everybody. First up for today is communication. For the Wasatch Club, we've been using the Remind app as well as an email list, and both have worked perfectly. But any similar app would work great just for sending out reminders for upcoming projects or any other notifications. We also use social media as well as our school news to reach a broader audience in case anyone new wants to join because we love new members. And the last step is organizing projects. I encourage you all to download the JustServe app because it's free, or you can just use the website. You enter your zip code and it will generate hundreds of projects in your area. You can look around, find one that fits the size of your club as well as their interests and talents. Once you find one that you want, you just click on it and immediately you'll find the contact information so you can communicate with the organization. I'll also send out a Google Forms to all of our members so they can sign up for each project, just so you have an idea of how many people can attend. And the last thing, something that was so fun for us was including other clubs or teams in our projects. So I encourage you to get together with the student government or the soccer team or anybody who wants to and have a great time getting involved in your community together. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful time serving.
Okay. So Isabel, as you can tell, she had a lot of experience with a JustServe club that she started. I know that she lives in Utah, so they had a lot more members than we'll probably start out with. We could get 175 at one of your high schools, but I don't let that deter you from starting a club because it doesn't matter how many members you have to start just so that you can get one started. So what I'd like to do now is with those successful practices that Isabel talked about, I'd like to go into just a little more in depth on each one of those. So the first was starting with a purpose statement. So you need to create a purpose statement which can be shared with your school administrators and prospective members. It could be as simple as saying a JustServe club at our high school can support, and then put the name of your high school in there, students who want to be an influence for good through meaningful service. Or it could just be JustServe mission is to build unity through the community. You would have to figure out what your purpose statement is, how you would like that presented, and then share that with your school administrator. And then determine what is required to start a JustServe club. Requirements, as Isabel mentioned, may vary from school to school. So you're going to need to know what those are for your school in your area. And then follow up like she recommended with an advisor. I recommend that you do that as well. Because that advisor is going to know a little bit more about what's required on your school for certain paperwork and to get things signed off so that you can have those events at your school. And those advisors, whoever you choose, can advocate on your behalf for you. And what I would suggest is that you connect them with the JustServe specialist in your state. They're going to be the ones that can help that advisor understand a little bit more about what JustServe does, what the JustServe clubs, they've been given additional paperwork. So questions and answers that you talk to with them, they'll be able to help with that. So it's important for you to know who that JustServe specialist is in your state and to connect them with an advisor at your school if you're deciding to move forward with a JustServe club. And then awareness. Once you decided you want to get one started and you might know who an advisor is that you'd like to connect with and you know who your JustServe specialist is, how do you get students to join? Well, one of the things we talked about was to have some promotional materials, like t-shirts and wristbands, baseball caps, other items for club members. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. And then you need to know what kind of service opportunities your club would like to be involved in. So finding out what things they enjoy doing, whether they want to do service projects, and we'll talk about this as well, that are just in-house that you can do right on school property and do them within that short time frame that you have your club, or if it's something you want to extend to a Saturday or maybe to an evening. And then find out what people's likes are. Maybe you're more interested in working with animals, or maybe you like that your club likes to do nature things, or they want to be involved more with little children or older people. So kind of get an idea of what your club and the people in your club, those students, what they enjoy doing. And then the next thing you need to do is to create awareness of the projects your club will be helping out with. Once you do those projects, you take pictures of them and post them on social media and newsletters and things like that. And we'll talk just a little bit more about that in the next couple slides as well. But all these points here are going to get the awareness of JustServe out in the open. With the promotional materials, you're actually advertising what you want to do. You know which projects you want to go out and be involved in, and then you want to share with everybody what you've done. Other things you might like to consider, and this has to go along with those t-shirts we just talked about. There's two things. You can get a local business to sponsor your club. They can purchase JustServe t-shirts with maybe the JustServe logo on the front, and then the sponsoring business could be on the back. Some of the other things is, if you decide to do a JustServe club, you will receive, once you register your club with JustServe, and your specialist can help you to do that, you'll receive a swag box. They call it a swag box, but generally it's some t-shirts and some other promotional items that you'll get to start your club off right away. But going back to the local business sponsor, you can get more than one. You can have a couple of sponsors, but they can help you if there's other things you would like to purchase for your club to get your club started. And then showcase your volunteer service through that social media post. We just talked about that a little bit. After you've completed the project, you need to post those pictures. And one of the great things that you can do is JustServe.org has a what they call success stories, and you can post those pictures or a video on that. So anybody who's looking for a project, if they see that video, they'll see what your club has done, and that'll get them excited and be like, oh, I want to do that as well. Plus posting it on social media, your Instagram, those types of things will get it out there, what you're doing as a club. And then I also think that if you can get it to your school and your school newsletter, that's another good way to get it out there. Your friends are going to see it. They're going to be like, wow, we want to do this too. How can we get involved? And that's going to share what your club is doing a little bit more. And then partnering with other groups. I loved when she said, remember that part where she said that she had gotten together with another sports group and they did an activity. So let's just, when you get together, an organization may have a project. I'm just going to think, let's just think of an organization that helps families that don't have enough food. So the project would be a food distribution. And you're like, I want to come and do this. But maybe this is one project that your club would like to partner with either your soccer team or maybe it's your cheerleading team or somebody else that wants to help with that. I also think that within your group, because your group is not just members of the church, it's members of your school. So your school is going to have other faith-based youth organizations that some of your friends are a part of. Maybe you get one project that your friend who belongs to a different faith, you get to hook up with them and do a youth activity together to support a project that you guys would like to do. So this is going to increase your community circles, and it's going to build new friends and new friendships along the way. So those are some other things that you can consider. And then recruiting club members. This picture here is kind of like what Isabel had mentioned. She had that rush week. This is in a more smaller scale. This is probably more doable for the Nebraska area. But this group here, as you can see, they have a little bit of what we call swag. They have a banner that goes around their table that says JustServe. And most of our JustServe specialists do have some of that material. And if they do not, they can get a hold of it if they just ask me. We have some things that we could share with them that we could loan out to you. And then they did this on their own. They took a trifle and they presented JustServe up here at the top. Let's see if I can point my arrow at it right here. They put together some JustServe stuff. And down on the table here, they put out a couple of handouts. And then the most important part is over here in the corner, they have a little bucket of candy, because if you're going to come to that table, you're going to want to take something back with you. So those are some of the things that they did to recruit members. And then once you get those members recruited, again, it's important to have some officers, and what great leadership opportunities it is to have like a president, a vice president. Maybe you want a secretary. She mentioned a representative. You can have those, or maybe you would like to have a treasurer. And just like board members, my nonprofit does the same thing with board members. They get that vice president to be work alongside the president, so that the next year that vice president moves into the president's role and is more stronger and ready to lead, because they've had that opportunity to work alongside the president of that club. So officer duties are kind of fun too. You get to create your bylaws. You get to create other things that you might need to run your JustServe club. And then you're going to want to schedule how often and where you will meet. So how often? Some clubs meet once a week, some meet once a month. You might want to decide how you want that to look. And then your time, working with your advisor, obviously, to find a space where at the school that you can meet with your club. And then whoever the president is, that person's going to conduct the meetings to begin with, and then can offer everybody else the opportunity to conduct a meeting. So you'll have to have an assignment or agenda. And so that's another great leadership skill that you'll be learning, is to open that meeting up and to have a theme and to decide, okay, these are some projects that are on JustServe. Which one of these would we like to use to do a project for our club? and then discuss with your club those types of service projects. You get to vote on them, which is another part of leadership. And then you go on to JustServe and you can start to get those projects out there and start working on them. I wanted to show you 2 different options here. So the next slide here, these are 2 different ways that you can serve in a school club. So for instance, over here, this one right here, this JustServe club, they collected healthy food items for those in need. They did that out in a parking lot. It was announced, they helped the organization, they signed up to help the organization. So they didn't plan the project, they just came to the project. And what they did is they helped get it off and put it into the truck so that it can, people would bring and donate it, they put them in bags, and then they put it on the truck to go back to the organization so that they could then they could distribute it to the families in need. This opportunity was done not on school campus. Now the next one really wasn't done on school campus either, but it could have been. It was done in a home. But this one right here, they chose a retirement center, and they chose but they decided to make Christmas decorations for the elderly at a retirement center. Now they could have done this in school at wherever their club was meeting, but they chose to do it in a home, I think, because it had more of the materials that they needed. So that's how this project took place. And then there's another one. Let's see here. This one here to the left, this one was done on the school as well. They decided to make dog bandanas for a local animal shelter. So as you can see with the bandanas that they made, they just created them for big dogs, little dogs. They put some positive affirmations on some of those bandanas, or they drew pictures for the little dogs. So those little dogs that are at the shelter could have a bandana. And this again was done at the school. On your right is what they call the neighborhood cleanup day. This JustServe group, and you can see they're wearing their swag, they're wearing their JustServe t-shirts. They decided to partner with a project that would go out and do neighborhood cleanup. And it is such an invigorating activity to do, to go to a home where there's elderly people or handicapped people, those that have disabilities, or maybe some where it's a young mom and she's just got a lot going on and just doesn't have the ability to get out and clean her yard. And so when you show up to this yard that's full of brush, and this time of year, some leaves and all kinds of things in their yard, and you spend that whole day raking and cleaning and cutting, and by the end of the day, that yard looks gorgeous. And it's just such a feel-good feeling as an automatic to see the difference from the time you got there in the morning to the time you left in the afternoon. So as you can see, there are 2 different ways you can serve in your club, whether that's out in the community, maybe in the evening, or some of those activities would be done on a weekend, or the school projects that can be completed in your school, which would be over the lunch hour or maybe shortly before or after school, those types of things. So I would like to leave you, I'm almost done. I'd like to leave you with 2 more thoughts. The first one is, remember the purpose of the JustServe Club is to be an influence for good in your community and school through meaningful service. And when you serve, you lift and help others while building bridges with community service organizations through JustServe.org. So you are that bridge. You're building those relationships up. And then when you start a JustServe Club, you can encourage members of your club to support each other, to connect with one another, and have a good time while following our Savior's commandment to love and to serve one another. So, what's the next step? Well, the next step are for you, the youth, to visit with your young men and your young women leaders, whether that be tonight or in the coming weeks, and decide if you're ready to start a JustServe Club in your school. Involve the JustServe specialist in your area. They will be a huge help to you. If you have questions, ask them. and they can steer you in the right direction. And remember that Jesus is the why when it comes to service. Serve him with all your heart, might, mind, and strength, and you will see miracles happen in your life. I leave this with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Now, if you are gathered as a group, take some time and talk about and discuss the information that was just shared with you tonight. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for attending, and I wish you all good luck. Rachel will be recording this, so it will get sent out to everybody, and we'll have an opportunity to view it at another time. Rachel, before we end, did you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind you all of President Nelson's quote about gathering Israel, that this is gathering Israel, that any time you help anyone make a step toward making a covenant with Jesus Christ, that is the gathering of Israel. And as you reach out and invite your friends to join together in doing what Christ did and serve, that will help connect them to the Spirit and feel what feels good and help them make that step. And I know I want you to understand too that your peers and the people that you work with, they want these opportunities, and many of them don't get them, especially if they're not going to church, which a lot of people don't. They don't have the opportunity to serve like we do. And so you can bring your priesthood power to them, and you can give them opportunities to serve, and it will bind you closer together. You will be better friends. And another thing I just wanted to point out too is that none of your leadership has to be members of the church. You don't actually have to be the president of this club. You can find someone in your school who can be the president and take the lead, and you can just be 100% supportive and bring the spirit that you have, your testimony and your priesthood power to support them. And that is definitely something you can do. I think that this generation of youth is one of the most needs-aware generations that we've ever had, that you're very aware of people around you who need things and very aware of world's problems. And I think you could take the opportunity to lead the way in your community and be the light that your ward and that your stake needs to be pushed into the community and do some really, really good things. I also just wanted to open it up for questions. If anybody had a quick question right now that you would like to get answered, we can take a second and answer any of those. All right, if nobody has anything, then we will go ahead and close, and you all have JustServe specialists in your stakes, and lots of people here to support you. So if you decide to make that leap, even if it's not till next year, just tell somebody and you will find help.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good night, everyone.